A good Voch Boisai. Lili Nishmasim Rosh Rosh Mordechai. Eluschos Beni Akiva Simcha Ben Fega. We are now live by Reb Shaila. Look at this. I mean, I don't know if this is a live picture, but I just printed it. That's why I'm a shtickle late. So if you're in Kiristir and you're live and you're not part of the shir, speak to Shalom Rand. This Rabbi Isai is Yossi Klein. After he stood on his feet for 11 hours giving out Gemaras, what do after 11 hours? You do the daf. It looks like he's sleeping. I don't know. I also had a shaila. Rabbi Isai, we have a bunch of guests here. What's your name? Galili. Shalom Galili. Shalom. From where?
From Manashkol.
From Manashkol. And here, wie heißt ihr? Shalom Aleichem. Kein Gold Ring. From? You live here? Was hast du dort? Wow. Was ist das? The Maseches Shekel. It looks very old. It's old. What is this? I don't understand these things. What do you have? Like a guy in bed? You happen to have it. This is what you do for a living? Am I supposed to open this? You let open it? There's a letter in there. Oh boy, look at this. Unbelievable. I'm a descendant of the Maseches Shekel. Unbelievable. Wow. And you, how long are you watching this year? He's undercover. Wow. Beautiful. Yishkoyach Gadol. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chazak v'ematz. But I should read this first. I joined Yeshir a while ago. Was looking for a place to learn the daf, nothing else. Yeshir was pretty just for that. Slowly it changed. Started with emails, sponsorships, and so on. Very commercialized, etc. Was very skeptical. But this whole thing was not the good old shir I joined, but seems to bring so many more people closer to Torah, and that's the main goal. I am very, very impressed by your dedication and hard work. You're simply amazing. The only bracha I can bless you. P.S. Playing with them basketball or so can help. Your brother from another mother. Yosef. Now, what is this? This goes together? Let's see. What else is this? Wow. Why? Eretz Yisrael. Check this out. Yeah. I've never seen English letters on an Israeli license plate. Unbelievable. The first. Unreal. Wow. Anybody else have gifts? We got to learn some Torah, no? So, man, who else is here? You guys. Ben Bergi. Mashu Gazeh. It's getting 5 times to driving from Yerushalayim to Ramat Shemesh, 5 times to going back to Miami. So, Tzeiskum L'Sholem. Wow, unbelievable. What are you guys? You guys related? All Mishpocha. All the nephews. Okay. Wow. Be'ezer Hashem, you'll join the shir also full time. Don't tell me you're doing it already. No, it's just kidding. Who else? Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Sroll Folder from Farakaway. Unbelievable. The guy is okay. I'll tell you the truth. He watches a bunch of shiurim. You ready for shir? Okay. He watches the competition also, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll let him go this time. 1 minute. Hold on a second. What? Did you really watch it? This is a picture of Yitzi Hissiger, Ari Morrison from the Art Scroll Chevra and Yossi Klein. Take a look. They came to visit the booth. Who else do we have? And then we're gonna start learning soon. Willie Balk on the left from Englewood, New Jersey. Shruly Adler from Muncie in the center. And Shlomo Zalman Friedman all the way over here. This Shlomo Zalman Friedman, Balk, and Adler in the middle. Very nice. Okay, Rabbi Isai. Yeah, one more thing. What are you showing me? We're live in Kiristir. All right.
Don't quit your day job. That's it.
What's the song? What's the Rishad? Shaile ben Moshe. No. Hey, Bobo, nine. Mizoinai, Rebichem, Shaile ben Moshe. Shaile ben Moshe. Oigla Yisru. All right, whatever. They'll teach us the niggin later. The Parnas HaKoilel for the Chodesh is Chayim from Lakewood. Maseches Taanis is dedicated by the Kessler and Davis families. Refuah shleima for Miriam Esther devora. Parnas HaChodesh, Kislev, sponsored by Yoeli. For Lilu Nishmas, his father's sister in Shver. Parnas HaChodesh, Reuven Klein. For his mother, Nechama bas Calev. And by the Hanas Brothers, Parnasei HaChodesh. That's you? You're related? Related. Yes, if you're related, say their name.
Hanasabzadeh brothers.
Hanasabzadeh brothers. And the Krispin, very nice. Is related. Benazera Families. And Shlomo Lalezarian for inspiring us to join MDY. By Dovy Reich, commemoration of the first yard side, a long-time Chicago Rabbinical Council, Bezdin of America, Av Bezdin. And Eli's great uncle, HaRav Gedalyah Dov, HaRav Avraham Schwartz. He's unbelievable Talmud Chacham, reverend for his towering intellect and renowned for his midas and chesed, humility and shalom and achdus. Rabbi Schwartz was a distinguished Rav and leader of American Jewry for over 60 years. I'm only reading this long drasha because he happens to be related somewhat. He's my mother's uncle, I think. So yeah, he married my mother's uncle. Avram Weinreb going to contract on a dira, an RBS Dalid. Is there such a thing as RBS Dalid? It's called RBS? Okay, beautiful. Mazel tov. Welcome. Somebody lied to him, said it's on the same block as MDY or something.
No,
Huh? That's you? You got suckered into Dalid?
7 minutes from here.
By car.
Oh,
By Tustas. What are you going to do on Shabbos? We don't give shir on Shabbos. Okay. Rabbi side, today's Daf Tezvav. And we're holding all the way up. I don't know, I didn't count. Maybe 15 lines up. I'm going to ask the guys in Kiristir, does anybody in Kiristir know what Anshe Maimed is? What is it, Anshe Maimed? Anshe Maimed. Anybody? Besides this guy? No. What's Anshe Maimed? Okay, nobody knows. How about in here? Anybody know here? Say it. Don't be shy. We're going to get there. So we learned like this. Oh, by the way, I have to say this. Okay, we got to start learning. I know it's 53, but last year the same thing happened. It was the yard side of Rav Shteiman, and I wrote this last year, and I have it in my drawer for a whole year. So I have to say, tonight is his yard side, Rav Shteiman's yard side. Two quick things. A guy came to him to ask him the famous story, but I have to repeat it. Came to ask him, should we throw out this bacher? He did a terrible thing. We got to throw this bacher out of yeshiva. So Rav Shteiman said, okay, what's his mother's name? Let's daven for him. So the guy says, I don't know. He says, you're the Rosh Yeshiva and you don't know this guy's full name with his mother's name and you want to throw him out of yeshiva? Get out of here. First we daven for a bacher, then we throw him out. That's one. Then the famous video, and I wrote this down word for word back then, and I want to say this over. A very famous character here in Eretz Yisrael that has many koilim. I'm not going to go into his name or anything because it might be Lashon Hara. He came to him and he said, there's a story where an almana married a guy and the guy has some of his kids in a certain cheder, and she also wants to now, they want to go together, all the kids should go to the same cheder. So what's the problem, he asks? He says, they say that she's a little modern, she's a little, not in the same thing as the cheder. He says, and who said it? The Kitzer, he says, one of the parents of the school said so. So he says, that parent is Balgaiva, something like that. And he goes, it's Gaiva, Gaiva, Gaiva. He was mad. It's just Rak Gaiva, Shum Davar Acher, Shum Davar Lo. Lo Tachshav She'yir Shamayim. Gaiva, Gaiva, Gaiva. 100% Gaiva. So the guy looks at Rav Shteiman after the whole Gaiva, and he says, but even though the guy that said it is a Choshev Avrech, he says, so then he's a Graisa Gaiva. Okay. End of the story. Everybody take what they need to take from it, but even though he lived in Bnei Brak his whole life, and he was a real Bnei Braker, and he gave the other shir, the parallel shir, I was by Rabbi Yehuda Lefkovich, and he gave the other shir Gimel in Shivik Tana of Panovich. He was a real Bnei Braker through and through, but he wasn't. I mean, these things didn't mean anything to him. All right, Zok Gemara, Ubeshila Sholem. We're talking about, so just to review, if it doesn't rain, so we do a series of 3 fasts. Sheni, Chamishi, Sheni. If it still doesn't rain, you wait a little bit, whatever you wait, and then you do again, Sheni, Chamishi. And if that doesn't work, you do a series of 7 fasts. Sheni, Chamishi, Sheni, Sheni, Chamishi, right? What is the difference over here? And if this doesn't work, then we don't even say hello to each other. Now it's serious stuff. We don't say hello. Says the Gemara, Chaverim, Ein Sheila Shalom B'nein. So between the Talmid Chacham, I know that this halacha, you don't say shalom to each other. But listen to this. Amei Haaretz. Okay, for the guys in Krispin that don't know the shir very well. If you're not Amei Haaretz, you're one of this. Amaritz. You don't know halachas. You don't know that it says in halacha. You ever go to the oval house, and if people sat people know the halachas, other people might not know the halachas. You walk in there, hey, Eli, what's going on? Shalom Aleichem. What are you supposed to do now? You're not allowed to say hello. You're not allowed to say back. You're in the oval house. So we'll call them Amaratzim. A lot of people are Amaratzim. Baruch Hashem, when it comes to these halachas, they don't really know. They're not familiar. What do? Says the Gemara, don't be mean. You have to be nice. So, it's a halacha, and I could be machmir, and I'm like, no, shegitz, what are you doing? Say hello to me, shugga. You don't know, it's a fast day today. Kovid roish, sofa brura, so that they shouldn't be upset and say, look, this is how the Chacham map. This is what a Rav does, he yells. These Talmid Chachamim have to dress up and sit like people that are nidui kivnei adam and zufin lamakay, like a Baruch Hu put them in cherem. That's what a Baruch Hu is doing. He's not giving us rain to make a point. You guys are nidui. You're not acting correctly. Ad shirachmu aleim min hashamayim. Omar Rebbe Lazar. Ein adam chashuv reshoy lipal al panav. We're talking about in time of the Gemara, lipal al panav is literally to fall on your face. When you do nefilas apayim, today we go like this for tachnun, but they used to literally lay flat on the floor. Lipal al panav. If you're adam chashuv, let's say you're a rebbe, and everybody believes that you're bal moifes and everything, and all your tefillas happen. So you're going to get in front of everybody, going to fall on your face, and make a whole to do. And look, we're going to daven for rain, and nothing. So people are going to make fun. They're going to say, look, he's chashuv. What? He can't even get rain. What he's going to tell me if I'm going to have a boy or a girl. You know, you go to the rebbe, you're going to have a boy. 50% of the chance. 50. How many times? Fine. Love and but how is he going to make moifsim if, or people just, it's not good. It's not good for business. It's not good for, it's a chil Hashem. People are going to say, look at him. Elam Kain, Nanaki Yeshua ben Nun. If he's on the level, like Yeshua ben Nun, that he's answered all the time, then okay, do it in public. Yeshua kum lach. Why are you falling down for the tefillah? You can't wear a sack unless you were answered like Yehoram ben Achav. What happened over there? This is a very, very sad story. We actually touched it the other day when we were speaking about Yoel. Then what? 7 years of a fast, very good. My brother from another mother knows his Navi. So the fast was so bad. Listen to this story. It's a very, very sad story. A woman comes to Yehoram the king. He's a Rasha, not a good guy. Comes to him and she says, listen, I want to take this woman to the Torah. Yesterday we sat and we ate her child. We ate him for breakfast. And she promised, yesterday we ate my child. And she promised that the next day, which is today, we're going to share her child. We're going to eat it. And the mother played a shtick. She ran away with the child. What do? She's bringing the other woman to the Torah. I want to eat that child. Yehoram, the king, he couldn't believe it. He was in shock. Like, it finally hit him. What's going on? People don't have food. They're coming to the Torah about eating another person's child or not. So he tore his bigdei malchus. And what was revealed underneath, Klal Yisrael saw that he was already sitting besak. He already had a sack underneath his clothing. What does the Gemara say over here? He's nana. So I want to just point something out. Yehoram was a Rasha. but HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened to him. You see from here, l'chayra, even a Russia who davens properly and means what he's saying and is sincere in his davening, he could be a Russia like Yehiram. No. The famine was over the next day. It was over. It's unbelievable that you saw it. You don't have to be the Gadol Adar to daven, even a simple person, worse than a simple person, a Russia Merusha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened to him. Shenemar v'yichishmoy HaMelech zdivri ha'isha v'yikra es begadav v'oiver al ha'choyma v'yara'am. And the nation saw v'nei yasak al b'sara. He's already wearing it. Not everybody gets to rip their clothing. Not everybody falls on the face. Somebody who's on a level of Moshe Aaron, all they need to do is fall, and that's it. They don't have to rip their clothes. It doesn't cost them anything. They just get down on the floor. However, Yeshua and Calev, they must tear their clothing like Avelos. It says Mefurish that they fell on their face. Yeshua v'Kalev b'Kriya d'chsiv v'Yeshua ben Nun v'Kalev b'Yinfuna karu b'Gdayim, and says Mefurish that they tore their clothing. Maseches Taanis v'Temer b'Shmuel ben Achmeni yihavik siv Yeshua ketikahamris hashta d'chsiv v'Yeshua. So here's the psukim. I guess you could just look in the Gemara if you want, but this is pasuk after pasuk, and it says vayipol Moshe Aaron al pneim, etc. So it says they did Nefilas Apayim. Pasuk Vav, one pasuk afterwards, it says v'Yeshua b'Nun v'Kalev b'Yinfuna karu b'Gdayim. So the Gemara says, since it says Vav Moisef Alinyan Rishon, the pasuk Vav is in addition to pasuk Hey, so it's telling us that Yeshua ben Nun and Calev, not only did they rip their clothing, but it's Vav Moisef, they also Alpneim and also Karu. Hash Yeshua Hava V'Amar Rebbe Lazar Lo Yakol B'Kima V'Lo Yakol B'Shtachavaya. Okay, so we're just talking about the same theme. Milachim B'Kima V'Sarim B'Shtachavaya. That what? La'asid Lavai by the Geula. Mir Hashem B'Karev Mamish. The kings of the world are going to stand up for Klal Yisrael. But that's just the kings. The Sarim, they are going to bow. Melachim b'kibud chsiv koyam Hashem goyel Yisrael kedoshai. We're holding on Daf Tes Vav Amud Aleph. So it says Mefurish that they are going to stand. The Melachim are going to stand. Where does it say it? In that same exact pasuk. Just want a very interesting thing I saw today, so I just want to share with the Olam a tidbit. There's a bacher that came to yeshiva and he said that nowhere in Shas can you find 3 daf in a row that doesn't mention the name Rabba and Rava. That's what he said. And he's willing to bet 400 shekel on it. So Bachram took up with the bet, and they went through Shas until they got to this daf. They found it right here. Daf Tes Yudalet Tes Vav Tes Zayin don't have the word Rava and Rabba, and they brought him to the entire. He said, "Well, I heard it from my Rebbe," and they said, "Too bad, you lost." Turns out that the Rebbe said Abai v'Rava, not really Rabba and Rava, but I just thought it was interesting that these 3 daf don't have Abai and Rava. Well, all of Shas. You can't go all of Shas without bumping into Abai and Rava. They paskin that he doesn't have to pay because he's basing it on his Rebbe, and that's an asmach l'ikanya. Fine. Just thought I'd point it out. Says the Gemara, Benazera Families, you have eksiv visarim yishtachavu kitkahamers. If it would say vav visarim, fine. Hashlach siv sarim v'yishtachavu ha avod. Both of them v'yishtachavu, they have to add the shtachavaya to standing up. Same theme. Not everybody's going to be zoichet to the light, and not everybody is going to be zoichet to the simcha. Tzadikim la'ira v'yisharim l'simcha. Which one is greater? Yisharim or tzadikim? Yisharim, says Rashi, is greater than a tzadik. Somebody who's yashar is greater than it, whatever that means, is greater than a tzadik. So, the tzadikim, they get the light. The Yisharim get simcha. Tzadikim la'ir d'chsiv orzur la tzadik. L'Yisharim simcha d'chsiv uli yishrei leiv simcha. They get the light. I just thought there's the famous story with the I forgot his name. What's the famous that everybody goes to this cave in Yerushalayim? Zvil, yeah. Zvila. Yeah. What's his name? The full name? Shlomo Lalezarian. So I think it was him, pretty sure it was him, that he said, he used to call everybody tzaddik. Yeah, my tzaddik, and tzaddik. So he went over to one of his balabatim and he said, my tzaddik, he says, I'm doing great, but I want to do a shidduch with the Rebbe. I'm a tzaddik and you're a tzaddik, so my daughter should marry your son. So he said, yeah, but there's different levels of tzaddikim. There's different tzaddikim. We don't, okay. So over here also, there's a tzaddik and there's a yashar. There's different things. There's different levels. Hadran aloch mei mosai, hadran aloch mei mosai, hadran aloch mei mosai. The following Mishnah is the official Mishnah sponsored Latzlacha of Ruchnius for Shimshon David Lipa ben Yehudis Bela. Say the Tanius Ketzat. So now this is one of the longest Mishnayos that I can remember. It goes all the way for most of today. But it's only Mishnah. Mishnayos are easy, b'derech klal, and this one included. Say the Tanius Ketzat. What do you do with these Tanaisim? So the Gemara is going to tell us, and we discussed this, we're talking about the final Tanaisim down here, the 7. What do you do? You see this? You go, you take the Aron Kodesh, you just, whatever you have here, you take the whole Aron Kodesh with the Sefer Torah, everything, bring it outside, in the middle of the street. And you take ashes from a fire burnt mikla, not just dirt or dust. You take, like we do for a chassan, yeah? We burn something, a tissue, then we put it on the Aron Kodesh, uberoish hanasi, and then we take it, we put it on the head of the nasi, uberoish avbezdin, and on the head of the avbezdin. And everybody takes some of this ashes and puts it on his head. I want to show you a fascinating Tosfos. You're not going to believe your eyes. It's one of these wild Tosfosim on Daf Amud Beis. Please turn the page. The little Tosfos on the bottom. And it says on the side, this belongs to the Mishnah. We're not jumping ahead. You take a human bone and you burn it and you make ashes. This is for the Akedah, and the Akedah had bones of Yitzchak. Where are you going to find a human bone that you could actually burn? Are you allowed to burn a human? Yeah, a guy's nifter, you're going to take his body and burn it so you can put it on somebody's head? Now, if you're going to tell me it's a mistake, Taisus, maybe that. So, there's another Taisus. Efer Mikla on Daf Zayin Amud Aleph. Same exact thing. Anyways, the Yavitz asked the question. Everybody's dealing with this. In fact, the question is like this: if you have loyalenu, the ashes from Auschwitz, do you have to bury them halachically? Do you have to bury them? Are they? If they did a cremation by mistake, let's say, do you bury those ashes? You have to. So they want to prove from Taisus over here that you don't have to. Look, you could take it and put it on somebody's head. Anyways, there's a need. I'm just saying this is one of those Taisus that literally you have to scratch your head to understand what's going on here. Someone at that what? Yeah, this is true. Exactly. After the war. So I think what comes out is the bottom line about the war. But to get to the war, to obviously we're going to bury the ashes at Kavod HaMeis and this and that. But whether or not you're mechuyev to, that's the question. Are you mechuyev to? What? The soap, right? That's what he's saying. The soap. What? Okay. So, and some want to say, you have that little bone in there that cannot be burned, and if the laws, you can't say different things. But some want to even say that Taisus, there's an Aleph in Taisus, me'etzem Aleph, and Aleph doesn't mean Adam, it means Ayal, because some of the Acharnim say, look, they didn't burn Yitzchak, he didn't have bones. There was Ayal, it was wood that was burned. So bring wood. What? Okay, fine. There's a whole need. I'm just saying, again, my job is to bring the interesting stuff, the shockers. Do whatever you want to do with it. Fine. Zok the Gemara. We're holding the Mishnah. Hazakin Shabahan. Take an elder person. Oimer lefneim divrei kibushim. He says things that are pressing. It's a lashon of lichboish, to press the olives, to press the heart. Achenu, and he says to them, Hashem didn't see by Ninveh the clothing they were wearing, the chitzonis they were wearing. Unbelievable. He looked at their actions. Actions speak louder than words. Doesn't matter how long your coat is and how long your beard is. That doesn't matter. What matters is inside. Did you do tshuva or you didn't do tshuva? Va'al means no and not, right? You should tear your heart. You should do tshuva inside, and then you don't have to tear your clothing. Rashi over there says, just if you do tshuva, then you don't have to come on. You'll avoid all the problems. The famous Duvna Magid, right? Guys wanted to do business. They had a great idea. They're going to smuggle things over the border, pretending that they're going to Levaya. So it worked out very well. They smuggled in a dead body in a coffin, and they went through. They made a lot of money. Kids there a few times. One time they stop. Open up the. He says, what's going on? You can't open up. Cover that mate. No, open up right now. So what are you talking about? We have a dead person here. You're not allowed to open it up. What happened was, he says, I noticed you guys, every Levi that goes by, everybody's crying. You guys are not crying. You're not crying. You're going to have to sit in jail now. Says the Magnet, if they would have cried, they would have saved themselves all the tzaras, first you cry. If you cry, then you can get out of it. If you can't cry now. They start crying, oh, we're in jail. It's too late. Cry beforehand, then you don't have to cry afterwards. That's what it says over here. If you tear your heart, you cry, you do tshuva, then you don't have to worry about your clothing. You don't have to do any kriya on your clothing. Amdu betfila. We started davening. Now, interesting, when you have these fast days, there's a special tefillah called, you're not going to believe it, Ne'ilah. Not only Ne'ilah in Kippur, but Ne'ilah on these fast days. And I have to say this, I know, because it's Motzei Shabbos, there's more and more Maises. We have unlimited time. We're going to 12 o'clock tonight. The Chassan said that Reb Osher Arieli, L'kaved Chanukah, he gives 15 extra minutes in his share. That's the gift he gives the Talmidim. Boys, here we go. It's Erev Chanukah. Yeah, I'll do 20 minutes. Reb Osher's nothing. 15. I'm 20. Let's him compete with me. Anyways, real quickly, just the halacha about tefillah, I thought it was amazing. By tefillah, you have to wear nice clothing, special clothing. You wear clean clothes. One of the things has to be naki. So one day, Rebbe Yashiv was bending down on the floor to do b'dikas chametz, and he got really dirty. So his Einikel said, here, he knew how much Rebbe Yashiv was makbid on. Rebbe Yashiv was very. So he gave him. He said, "Let me wash." He says, "No, this is not dirt. This is not what the halacha says. This is dirt of a mitzvah. That's different." And Reb Chaim Kanievsky passes also that if somebody's painting a shul and he gets a bunch of paint on his clothing, that's paint of a mitzvah. That's not dirt. And you daven mincha like that, no problem. All right, Zok the Gemara. Moiridin lifnei ateva zokim v'ragil v'yesh leibonim ubeisoy reikom. So you take who davens. You take a zokin, an older person, v'ragil, somebody who knows how to daven. He doesn't fumfin the words. V'yesh leibonim, and he has children. Ubeisoy reikom. Now Rashi says, you would think Beisar Reikom means he's poor. No. Beisar Reikom, as the Gemara is going to say at the end, means that he doesn't have Averis. Because it goes together. If he's poor, then his heart is broken and he'll daven. No. At the end of the day, it's talking about a person. I'm cheating, I'm telling you the end of the Gemara. There's 24 brachas. How do you get to 24? It's 6 plus 18. Regular Shemona Esrei. Another 6. The Pella is, if we start counting now, it's not 6. Shalom Aleichem, Mazel Tov. So, Oichesh, Ve'elohein. Now, I'm going to do the counting for you. If you count Elohein, it's going to come out to 7, not 6. So what we need to understand is very, very simple. Where do we stick in all these brachas, Rabbi Isai? Right over here, between Goyel Yisrael and Refuah. That's where everything fits in. However, in Goyel Yisrael, this bracha, since we add extra stuff, Aneinu, Lekei Avram Aneinu, and Bar, So this is considered one bracha by itself. So we ignore Goyal Yisrael and we stick in 6 brachas over here. But the Mishnah has to describe what Goyal Yisrael is. So total we have 7. So let's see inside. Zichroi nois v'shoifros. The Mishnah is going to say it quickly and then explain it nicely. Zichroi nois v'shoifros, mamish like a Rosh Hashanah. Zichroi nois and shoifros. Malchus is not, because Malchus doesn't make sense on a Taanis. Yemamlich HaKadosh Baruch on Rosh Hashanah, not on a Taanis. El Hashem bat soroso li korose v'yaneni. And then you say, Esa einai Eloharim, mimamakim korosicha Hashem, tefila lo'ani kiyatov. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, you don't have to say Zechronis v'Shoifros. That's for Rosh Hashanah. Elohim Tachtein. Instead of those, you say Rav Kia Ba'aretz, Dever Kia, psukim that have to do with famine and Dever. Fine. And for each bracha, you say whatever is appropriate to finish off the bracha. Al Rishoina. Now, Al Rishoina Rabbi Isai is going back to Goyal Yisrael. That's Rishoina. Huoimer mi shonas Avraham b'haram iriyo hu yaneschem v'yishma b'kol tzakaschem hayoyim hazeh baruch Hashem Goyal Yisrael. Now I looked it up. It's very interesting because I was just curious. We say a bunch of anenu, a lot. But when we say tachluye yilodim, tachluye, you know what I'm talking about? Over there, it's the 6 over here. Then, for some reason, those 6 made it, and that's we only do the first 6. So, Mishon is Baruch Hashem, Goyal Yisrael. You see? So that's this bracha over here of Reva and Yenu, Goyal Yisrael. Next, Mishon is Aviseinu al Yamsuf, Hu Yaneschem, the one who answered our forefathers on the Yamsuf, Yishma Kol Tzakaschem Hayom Hazeh, Baruch Hashem, Zoicher Anishkachos. Okay, so you messiah with what's relative to that bracha. Al Shlishas Oimer, Misha Onos Yeshua B'Gilgal, Hu Yane Eschem. What happened with Yeshua B'Gilgal? That's referring to Yerichai. Yerichai, the Shofros, the wall came down. Hu Yane Eschem B'Yishma B'Kol Tzakaschem Hayom Hazeh. So what do you finish off? Baruch Atah Hashem, Shemei Atrua. That has to do with the shofar. Yerichai, shofar. Al Rav Zoimer. Mi sha'ana eshmul b'mitzvah. Hu yane eschem v'yishma b'kol tzakasim. Over here we stick in the shir amalis batzar karasa. Hayoyim hazeh baruch atah Hashem shemei atza'aka. Al chamishus Zoimer. Mi sha'ana es Eliyo b'hara Carmel. So over here we say it's Hara Carmel. So what shir amalis coincides with Hara Carmel? Esoyinai El Harim to the mountains. Hara Carmel yaneschem yishma b'kol tzakaschem hayom hazeh baruch Hashem shemei atfilah. Al ashishis huomer mi sha'ana es yoina mimei hadoga hu yaneschem yishma b'kol tzakaschem hayom hazeh. So mimei hadoga, he was inside, deep inside the fish. So what do you say? Mimamakim korosicha Hashem. And on that you finish off, Baruch Atah Hashem, Ho'oine Beis Tzara. Al Shvius Ho'imer, Mishones David Shlomo B'nai B'Yerushalayim, Hu Yaneschem, V'yishma B'kol Tzakaschem Hayom Hazeh, Baruch Atah Hashem, HaMerachim Al Haaretz. In the time of David and Shlomo, there was a famine, and whoever answered that, Rabbi Isai. So, if you go all the way back, we have to go back for a second, because it says over here, right before it says, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Mimamakim Krosir Hashem, and then we say Tfilo Le'oni Kiyata. We have to sing the song. It's Motzei Shabbos. We have to sing the song. You ready? With everybody together. You know the words? Anybody? Anybody know the song? Ni Kiyata B'fnei Hashem Yishpoich Sichai Tefila lioni ki avatoi V'lifnei Hashem yishpoich sichai Hashem Shemot Nefilosi Vishavasi Eilecha Savoy Al Taste Ponecha Mineni Miyayim Tali Hoy Hashem Shavasi Elecha Savoy Taste Ponecha Mineni Yoim Tali Shkoyach Maisa Bimei Rabbi Chalavta. Now we turn to the Amud Beis. Rabbi Chananya ben Tradion. Don't get too excited. It's not a big Maisa. It just means this was the minhag. So there was a chazan, what we call a chazan. He was over lifnei hateva. They didn't answer amen, but they did answer. What did they answer? Baruch Shem Kivoi Machusi Le'olam Va'ed, like they did in the Beis Hamikdash. Shkoyach. Tiku Hakoyhanim Tiku. What does that mean? So without Rashi, without understanding what's going on here, it's hard to understand. There's somebody else. Here, I made a little chart here. There's about tefillah, what we call a chazan, but we'll call him about tefillah. He's saying, me, Hanas Avraham, and Baruch Atah Hashem, Goy Yisrael. There's a guy called a chazan. Chazan is a shamish. Somebody else. He's the older guy that has children, that doesn't have any chatoim, etc. Then he repeats, and he says, Rabbi Sai, Tiku koyhanim tiku. You have to blow a shofar. And notice the lashon. Tiku means tekiah, teruah, tekiah. Tiku. And then he finishes off and he continues, Mi Hanas Avraham. So after him, he repeats. Okay. Tiku hakoyhanim. Rabbi Folder. Tell me afterwards if the other shiurim you got it this clear. Misha Hanas Avraham Avinu Bahara Maria Huyane Eschem Bishma Bekol Tzakaschem Hayoyim Hazeh, and then they blew the shofar. First the Chazan, the Nechama. The Chazan says it. He's going to show there's no blowing shofar yet. The guy that the Gemara calls Chazan, not what we call Chazan. Some other, the Shamish. He's the Gabbai of the Shul. He repeats it and he says it, and then they blow the shofar. Sponsored by Adam Vales, in memory of my mother, Gail F. Rather, Abigail Gita ben Pesach, V'chava Rivka. And turning to the Daf Yomi base, sponsored anonymously as a schush for Shiduchim for my siblings and myself. And now listen to this lashon. Hariu b'nei Aaron Hariu. Now he gets to this. He starts with the brachas, the 6 brachas. The Baal Tefillah finishes bracha number 1 after Goyal Yisrael, which is bracha number 2, finishes the bracha. Now the Chazan steps in. He says, Hariu. You see the difference in Lashon? Before he said, Tiku. Now he says, Hariu. Hariu is a Lashon of Shvarim. Do Shvarim. Tkiya Shvarim. According to Rashi. Hariu b'nei Aaron Hariu. And then he says, Misha is Aviseinu al Yamsu v'yane eschem yishma b'kol tzakasim hayom hazeh. And they blow the shofar. About regarding the Baruch Shem Kivay Machusay Le'olam Va'ed. Why? What business is not to say Amen and Baruch Shem Kivay Machusay that we reserve for the Beis Hamikdash? Fine. So they should answer Amen. But this idea of the Baal Tefillah saying it and the Chazan repeating, that's fine. So going back to here. You have the first series of fasts to see if we could get the rain to come. So the Mishnah says, Anshi Mishmar Misanav Mishlim. So we have to explain this real quickly. There's 24 Mishmaros. The Kohanim are divided into 24 groups of people, families, and each week, one mishmar takes over the whole week. But you can't have a whole family doing the Avodah Beis Hamikdash. Too many people, large families. They divide them into days. L'chayra, 6 days. Okay, some say 7. I remember 6. Okay, 6. So the Anshe Mishmar, those who are part of this Mishmeres, Misanim Veloy Mashlimim. So we have 2 things. We have Beis Av and Anshe Mishmar. Beis Av are those who are performing the Avodah today. Beis Mishmars, they're getting ready. They'll perform the Avodah tomorrow, the day after. But what if there's an overload for the Beis Av? They can't handle too many karbanis. So the Beis Mishmar, that family steps in and takes over and helps them. Therefore, they're sort of part of it. They're on standby. Thank you. They're on standby. So Anshe Mishmar Misanim Veloy Mashlimim. So if you're on standby, you fast, but you don't finish the day because just in case they need you to work, you can't be weak. Anshe Beis Av, those performing the Avodah, Lo Yom Misanim Klal. We're going to go in Madregas over here. Sholish Niyos. It just gets harder and harder. The second series of 3 fasts, Anshe Mishmar Misanim Umashlimim. You hear? We just stepped it up. Before, the people that are on standby, they don't fast completely. They break their fast somewhere in the day. Over here, standby people finish the fast. Anshe Beis Av Misanim Veloy Mashlimim. Also, we step it up. Before, the Anshe Av didn't fast at all, 0. They had a nice fat breakfast. Now, no. They're going to fast a little bit, but they're not going to break they're going to break the fast before the end of the day. Sheva Achronos, now we have to step it up even more. The final 7th fast, everybody fasts and completes the fast. There's no breaking the fast. This is serious stuff. It didn't rain in a long time. Everybody has to fast. Dovy Reich. Chachamim, everything we're gonna step it up, but they start from an easier position. That what? The first 3, nobody fasts at all. Everybody has a good breakfast. No one, meaning the people in the Beis Hamikdash, even those on standby. Sholish Niyos, now we have to step it up. The second series of fasts, then the guys on standby, they fast a little bit and they break their fast somewhere. And the people doing the Avodah, they don't fast at all. But the last series of fasts, before Rabbi Schwartz said everybody fasts and finishes the fast, not according to Chachamim. Because they started at an easier position, now they just build it up to here. That what? The ones on standby, they have to finish the fast completely. However, the ones performing the Avodah, listen, they need koichas. It's hard to do the Avodah. Schlep the animals all the way up the ramp, up and down, up and down. They fast, but they don't finish the fast. They break the fast. Anshe Mishmar, mutarim l'shtes yayin b'leilos. A kohen has a problem doing the Avodah after he drinks. So if the day is over, they see they're not needed. They're on standby. Their standby is over, so they can take a nice drink. Balayla. Avaloy bayamim. Not during the day. They're on standby. Anshe Beis Av loy bayom v'loy balayla. Those performing the Avodah can't do any drinking at all. Anshe Mishmar. The Anshe Maimad. Here we go. What's Anshe Maimad, Rabbi Isai? Anshe Maimad, to remind the Olam, we had it a few times. Huh? Yes. Okay, but listen, you have an art school over there. It's not fair. I'm kidding. Very good. But I asked the question before. Where were you before? You made me. Now everybody that didn't get to this part, you say the guns of the Shemesh, they don't know it. Fine. No, we had it a few times. It's hard to remember. That's why it's Yedias. Anshe Mishmar, Anshe Maimed means every single day we bring the carbon tamid twice. But it's for all of Klal Yisrael. So all of Klal Yisrael should be there. When you bring a carbon, you have to be present. So what we do, not all of Klal Yisrael could be there. We send the shliach, shluchim. They stand there by the tamid. So we have a bunch of Yisrael people that are there for all of Klal Yisrael representing. Those representatives are called Anshe Maimad. They're there watching the carbon tamid every day. Anshe Maimed, if you're a representative, asurim milisaper u'milichabes, you cannot cut your hair, you can't go to the barber, and you can't wash your clothing. I want to tell you a quick story. Matzah Shabbos. It really, I wanted to say it on Amud Aleph, but you know, it was too much on Amud Aleph. When we were talking about guys with the langer reklach and the frocks and the nice hats and this and that, and the HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares about the heart. But anyway, it's a story that should shake us up a little bit. There was a guy a barber, saying it because he's a barber. There's a barber in Yerushalayim, and Shlomo Lalezarian went to him and begged him to close his shop on Shabbos, and he refused to listen. And the guy made it to the hospital. He was dying in the hospital or something. Shlomo Lalezarian, with another guy, went to visit him and said, listen, I'll make a deal with you. I'll daven for you that you should be healed. You have to promise me you're going to close your store. Deal. So the guy got better, the guy closed his store. Kept his side of the deal. A little while later, Reb Shlomo Lalezarian notices that he's open. He goes in there and he says, what's going on? He says, listen, I had yard site, and I went to the shtiblach, and I was davening over there on the yard site of my father. And there were two guys there with the whole levush, the whole thing, and they were bothering me. They were disturbing me. They were counting money and this and that. So I said something to them. And the guy said, shut up, mind your own business, go weiter. And that's it, I'm done. So Shlomo Lalezarian said, imagine, these two guys go up to Shemayim, and they said, no, what about the Chil Shabbos that you did? Chil Shabbos, I'm the first guy to have Gana every year. What do you mean? Chil Shabbos. He said, no. Because of you, there's a guy that kept his store open for 20 years. 20 years of Chil Shabbos on your cheshbon. Because he said, this, you represent the Frum Yid, and because of you, he's not. Now, obviously, that guy is going to get his zaynish for whatever, but also the guy that helped out a little bit and gave him the push to be Mechal Shabbos. Not me, I didn't make this up. Anyway, Zog the Gemara. So it's unbelievable. We have a responsibility. We represent, we have a responsibility. Who? How long? Last Friday? Oh, 2 days ago. Ah, wow. Didn't know. Yishkoich Reb Shlomo Lalezarian's yard site was this Friday. Psh, see? Bashert. Just went down the wrong pipe, that's it. Not a big deal. Anyway, in Chamishi Mutarim, no, just kidding. The Chamishi Mutarim Shabbos. Too much litzahs. Having too much fun here. The Chamishi Mutarim Shabbos. It happened like the first time. You remember in the last 3 years, has it ever happened? It's going to happen. The Chamishi Mutarim Mibnei Kvoid Shabbos. Oh, now Thursday, you're allowed to go to the barber. When do you go to the barber usually? On Thursday. Because Friday, you're too busy with shopping, this and that. La Lacha, it's actually better to go to the barber on Friday, early in the day, obviously, not after Chatzos. But if you can't, you do it on Thursday. Any halacha. Any halacha brought down in Megillas Taanis, we discussed Megillas Taanis, it shows all the Yomim Tovim, the Klal Yisrael was saved here and saved there, and these are special days that you can't fast and you can't make a hesped. Lefanav Asur. I thought it was fascinating. I saw in the back of the Gemara, I don't know if you have it, if you have a Ois V'Hadar, blue, brown, any type, you can look on Daf Tes over here. It's on top of the Rashash. I couldn't believe it. I saw this today. He says, I'm going to read this to you. I just thought it was Pella. It's not as good as Shruli's November 22nd, but it's interesting. It says, V'godol echad, divrei chai adam, reish hilchas Chanukah, shekasav sham, the be'erev Chanukah muter lisanois, u'mekamakan behesped aser. What are we right now? Today's Erev Chanukah. And he brings it on this daf, on this Amud. And it actually mentions Chanukah in the Mishnah in a second. But I thought this is even more. This is Erev Chanukah, that the Chai Adam says that you're not, that you are, let me just get the words, muter lisanos. You're allowed to fast, but you can't do hesped. And he says it must be a mistake, a Torah Sofer, because it's the exact opposite. You're allowed to give a hesped, but you're not allowed to fast. Fasting is more kitzer. I'm just saying it's interesting that it's brought down on today's daf on Erev Chanukah. Says the Gemara, Mishnah, sorry. Rabbi Yossi Omer lefanav al-achrav asur. You can't, if you have a day, one of these special days, like Hanukkah, which is the only one that remains together with Purim. But what are the special days? You can't fast or make a hesped the day before and the day after covered this special yontif. The loylis ana. But if it's a day in this Megillah Taanis that says you shouldn't fast, you shouldn't make a hesped, just fast. Lefanav al-achrav mutar. Then. Oh, he should do my quote. It's not that chashav. No, it's not even on the same. November 22nd, the only time mentioned in Shulchan Aruch a non-Jewish date ever, November 22nd. And it was the sugya on November 22nd. That's phenomenal. Zok the Gemara. Lefanav la'achrav mutar. Rabbi Yossi Omer lefanav asur la'achrav mutar. Okay. Ein goyzim taanis al tzibur b'tchila b'chamishi. You don't start a fast day on Thursday. Shelo lafkia sharim. And we had the other Rashi here, he doesn't really say it, but over there Rashi held that they're going to use smaller measurements. But the point is, they're going to start charging more money. When they see Thursday night, you have to break a fast, and also you have to make a meal for Shabbos, people are going to start chopping up. The store owners start raising the prices. Hello, that's why you don't start them fast on Thursday. What you do is Monday, Thursday, Monday. So this man, the Nechama holds, the second set is Thursday, Monday, Thursday. Rabbi Yossi, and this is how we paskin. Everything starts on a Monday, Monday, Thursday, Monday, Monday, Thursday. Over here also Monday, Thursday, Monday, and over here also Monday, Thursday, Monday, Monday. Okay, fine. Ein goizrin taanis al tzibur b'rosh chodashim b'Chanukah b'Purim. Mamish before in the Mishnah, you don't make a taanis on Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, and on Purim. B'mitchilu ein mafsikin. However, let's say you had a whole series of fasts and one of them falls out on Chanukah. Okay, what are you going to do? You continue. He says, listen. Let's say we started a week ago. We started Monday, Thursday, Monday. We forgot it's Chanukah. So now the Chanukah comes. Rabbi Gamliel says you should fast. Says Rameir, you fast, but you got to break the fast. Make sure you have a nice Ganiyah on Chanukah. B'chein Tisha B'av shechalis b'erev Shabbos. The same thing. Erev Shabbos, like we said, you don't. Today it never happens. Tisha B'av never falls out on a Friday. But let's say it did. Then we don't fast the entire Tisha B'av, we break our fast. Says the Gemara, what, you take out the Aron Kodesh even on the first series? Says the Gemara, the first two sets, so you go into Shul, what does that mean? A regular Shemona Esrei, not 24 brachas. Only in the Sheva Achronos, then you take out the Sefer Torah. So you see Mefurish, not in the beginning, only at the 7 and the last one. You take ashes, you put on top of the Aron Kodesh, like a sign of Tsar. We're going to see soon. What happened? Just a question. If you saw ashes on an Aron Kodesh, what would you do? You'd laugh, you'd be sad. What would happen? We're going to see what a Tana. What happened when Natana saw ashes on Aron Kodesh? He shook. His body shook. Says the Gemara, you should take some of this Ephraim and put it on your head. They brought ashes from a fire. The Mishnah is talking about the final 7 Tanesim, not in the beginning. First, he put it on the Nasi, then afterwards, everybody else. Everybody puts on their head. Eini, Vasan, Vasanyo, Rebbe Oimer. Bigdula matchilim min hagadol. If it's something important, you start with the chashav guy. Ubiklala, but if it's something terrible, matchilim min hakoton. Start from the little guy. Bigdula matchilim min hagadol. Shenem abim mishal Aaron ve'Elazar yivu samar. First, he started over there when another V'Niviu and Nifter. So he started. Moshe started. It's not a klala. So he started with Aaron, who's the gadol, and Elazar is samar. Ubiklala matchilim min hakoton. When it comes to something bad, you start from the younger one. from the smaller one. But Chila Niskal Nachash. First, the snake got cursed. Adam was greater than Chava. He was there first. She came from his rib. The Kitzer, Adam was last. So the Gemara, so why is it that the Nasi gets the Efer first? It's a bad thing. He should be last, like Adam. So the Gemara, no, it's actually covered for him. The Amri Lahu, because they tell him, so to speak, they're telling him, you should daven for the whole world. So in other words, we're asking you to daven for everybody, so that's a chashivas for him. I don't know what the girsais are here. I have so much going on here. I don't know. Okay, whatever it says here. Why is it that other people put the ashes on the Av Bezdin and on the Nasi? Put on your own head, like everybody else does. The last line on the bottom. When somebody gives you the shtach, somebody puts it on you and embarrasses you, that's a lot more embarrassing, that's a lot more of achna. And where do we put it on? The exact same spot that we put the tefillin. By the way, I've seen people, but if you have long hair, it doesn't go where your hair ends, it goes by the end of the roots. Your tefillin shouldn't be past the end of your roots, it shouldn't be on your forehead. It should be right around here, like where the baby's head is soft. Welcome to tefillin shenemar losum la'avei tzion loseis lam pe'er is tefillin. Tachas efer, you should wear tefillin instead of the efer. In other words, the efer was instead of the tefillin instead of the efer. Have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week. We'll see you tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, at 7:15.